Hey, Daniel. I don't know if you forgot, but I'm the A, right?
Oh, yeah, well, sometimes.
Sometimes I'm the A?
Sometimes.
What about the D?
Well, you know where that is.
Well, speaking of A, what if I told you about a product that you can apply around the foundation of a home, and it's going to rid pretty much any crawling insect you could think of, and it's going to be pesticide free?
You know what? I have a really funny story that I'll tell later.
Okay.
And it's actually not that funny.
It's not funny?
But if you would have mentioned this before, I wouldn't believe you.
Would you say I'm a liar?
No, I mean, I know you. I wouldn't call you a liar, but I wouldn't believe it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't believe it.
Well, I'm about to tell you guys about a product named Aversion that is founded and made by Tony Gonzalez out in Arizona. Now, this product is specifically designed for scorpions, but the awesome thing I just figured out is that it can control other things like rodents and ants. And it's a completely pesticide-free product that you can apply to someone's home and practice IPM off of. So, now, real quick, Tony Gonzalez is a practicing attorney and joined up with his friend, and he's a founder and owner of Aversion and an owner of the company Scorpion Repel. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm doing great.
So, Tony,
awesome.
Do you know how interesting actually the whole purpose of this conversation, or the reason why I think we connected? Do you know how that happened?
I don't know exactly how, but I can tell you why I was so interested in having this conversation.
Okay, I'm going to let you go first because now I'm more interested in what you have to say.
I second that.
Well, mine was easy. I mean, because obviously I listened to the show over the holiday. I was very interested in having to learn that one of you was stung by a scorpion, and then really had to go to the drawing board and try to figure out whether it was poisonous and what are the other characteristics of this particular insect. And that was like me, honestly. I mean, you guys are in the pest control world. I'm not. For myself, honestly, I didn't even think we had scorpions in Arizona. I didn't. And I knew my friend who I co-founded this company with, he was infested with scorpions. And so for him, he kept telling me, help me with this business. But it really wasn't until my son had his experience. But so that was interesting to me because I had to go to the drawing board. I had to figure out, okay, how does this work? How do these scorpions function? Are they poisonous? What's the difference? How many species are there? Does pesticide work? All those things. So that's where I got my interest.
Oh, wow.
And wanting to communicate with you guys. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Cause that was actually kind of what I was going to talk about. I didn't know that you actually listened in, but I was the one that got, I still don't know if I got stung or what happened with the scorpion, but, I actually started looking into scorpions afterwards, because scorpions are everywhere. I don't know if you actually knew that, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning it. Every time we get a phone call from these odd places across the U.S., then we're like, wow, there's another scorpion.
Yeah, no, they're crazy. So I did research after I got stung or bit or whatever. But I found out these things can literally be anywhere. So I saw one. I grew up in Utah. It snows. It gets really cold in Utah, and there's scorpions in Utah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. I never even would have thought until I almost put my hand on one. And that was a long time ago. And then, I happened to be on vacation in Cancun, and I actually got hit by one. So not fun in that situation, but it sparked that interest of actually looking into it. But I found out that scorpions themselves in the insect world, they're insane. They give live births. If no one knew that or haven't heard, previous episodes, but they're absolutely crazy.
They're scary too.
They are. But we'll jump right into a few questions we have for you, Tony. Well, and we'll explain a little bit about it. So aversion is essentially on the website, it says it's like a glass-like, how would you say it? Like a barrier almost.
Like a barrier or a coating that you put around the foundation of a home.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool too. The aesthetic isn't that bad.
No, it's
it gives it that little shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it actually, it looks pretty good. I mean, I love the idea of it. After I kind of looked more into what it could do, I mean, it's actually the possibilities are endless with this product on what you could do to homes and, current clients of ours that we service even now.
Cool.
Yeah, you hit it exactly. It's for us. It was easy when my co-founder was infested with scorpions. He was catching them, and sometimes he would trap them in a glass, and he noticed they couldn't get out. Just like other insects will have problems climbing out of a glass jar, for example. And he was like, okay, I'm sure I can find something out there that does this. So he went out there and he looked. He looked for at least a good part of a year. I remember him talking to me about it. He couldn't find anything on the market that basically has some of the qualities. It just didn't work. It wouldn't withstand the elements. It was too complicated. Anytime you put a product, like for instance, something like ours on concrete or stucco or wood, it penetrates. So it really doesn't build out that upper layer, which we need, which is what we call the glass-like texture. And so then when my son was stung, and I can tell you about that in a second, but then I joined him and we just said, look, let's just hire an expert. And so we started consulting with people, hired a chemist, we put something together. And quite honestly, we found a product that we knew would work. Now, obviously, we started doing this a long time ago, and so we've made some changes to our product here or there. But ultimately, now, which is great, as of February 1st, we have a one-part product, which that's it. It's just a product that's in a can, and it's easy to apply to any sort of structure. It doesn't, because it's clear, it doesn't change the color of the structure on the exterior, but it gives it sort of like a shine. Once it dries, that's exactly how it dries. It's like glass. You can feel it. And that texture is what keeps scorpions from attaching. And now we've been focusing on other crawling pests like ants, cockroaches. We've even gotten to the point where we have lab rats right now. Well, we call them our roof rats. They're our lab rats, which we do keep them contained and we treat them well. But with these rats, what we're finding is we're able to even use our product as a physical barrier for these rats. Because the way that this works is in the industry, as you guys probably know, almost everything can be classified as a pesticide. And for us, we want to be a physical barrier. And so the EPA has specifically defined products as pesticides, or you have other exemptions. And for us, we're a physical barrier. I mean, that's it. Like our product doesn't do anything to repel. All it does is just stop, right? And so for us, we wanted to put that same concept in play with other insects and other pests so that when they reach that point where they are crawling on a vertical surface, but even on a slope surface or even on a horizontal surface, once the insect or the pest touches this application, it doesn't feel right. And a lot of them will try to climb, and once they realize they can't, they'll move to another section. They'll try again. Once they can't, they'll move on. And that's what happens with what we're finding with other pests that we're testing now, but that's what happens with scorpions. And so right now here in Arizona, we're infested. And so if we can put this product on your structure, that's how we keep the scorpion from getting inside.
That's awesome. Now, I want to touch up on another question. I heard you say that the aversion is coming in cans. Is there anything else that a technician would need to do? Any mixing, or is it just literally grab the can, prep the area, and get started?
Absolutely. So There's still we do have training videos that we're going to offer, because right now we're offering the product ourselves as a version. So you can go to our website as a PMP and you can actually place an order depending on how much you get. But we actually break it down for you. We give you information and the material that will allow you to understand, number one, how you apply it. And then number two, how you can actually make it cost worthy for yourself and obviously cost effective for your clients. But it just comes in a can. There's certain tools that we want you to have, because you're still going to have to prep the area. Have to make sure the vertical surface is clean. Have to make sure that any rocks or other items are pushed back so you can get in there. And then you also want to, you use a lot of tape too, because you're using this product. Typically, like for example, here in Arizona, most of the homes sit up on a concrete pad. And so that pad is exposed usually about 3 inches all around the house, and it's usually painted. And so we will apply it to that paint. But sometimes you have to still mask the area with tape. And then you just have to be careful with the product, because the product is effective, but you also don't want to make drops here or there. But ultimately, if you prep the area, then all you're doing is applying. And right now, depending on what you want to use the application for, that's how you determine how much of the application to put on a home. You just use a brush, honestly. We were spraying it on, which was nice, but by using a brush, it comes out so much thicker and it's so much easier for, we wanted to make it easier for the industry to be able just to put it on as part of their tool, so they're not at a customer's or a client's home for an extended period of time.
No, yeah, that sounds awesome. Especially the main thing a lot of pest control companies worry about is they want to do that next step type of service, which it sounds like what you guys have got going on there, but they worry about their production time. But I mean, if they could literally brush it on and just throw some masking tape to protect the other areas of the client's home, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a pretty quick and effective and profitable service for a lot of pest control companies.
And what's been great about it too is, the product lasts a long time. It's good. It's sturdy. It can withstand the elements, rain, snow, heat, especially from the sun here in Arizona.
Oh, absolutely.
But for companies, what's nice is, you can even give a warranty. As long as you're doing it correctly, you can give a warranty and say, look, this is going to last 2 to 3 years. But one thing that the clients have to do, the homeowners, they still have to maintain it. Just like anything else, you still have to make sure that you keep mud off of it. You don't let there be any sort of gravel that abuts the area or other items like that. So you still need to do some work. And so what we've been doing is we've been telling our PMPs, look, go back. Like, you can make this part of your your service for them. Go back in year one. You can do another. You can call it you don't have to call it a retreat, but you can call it sort of like maintenance. We're going to come back and we're going to apply. We're going to walk the area. We're going to make sure it's clean. If we have to apply any more, we'll do that for you for a small fee. Then you can do that in year 2. And then by the time year 3 rolls around, you want them to actually put the application on again. But you don't have to use as much as you did the first time. But you can have essentially a client for life using this product. And that's what we really like, because the more times this application is applied to a surface, the better it actually, better it holds up. And quite honestly, like I said, as you get to the smaller insects that can climb glass, the smoother the surface is based from our application, the more likely it is you're not going to get them to be able to attach and climb.
That's awesome. So I have a quick question on this. So how easily, because we de-web houses, that's the pest control industry standard, is getting to a house, you're de-webbing. So could you use the web head to actually dust or clean that surface, or do you need to physically actually wash it down, or is there a process to that to keep that barrier strong?
No, you can. We do wash certain areas, because especially with new builds, what happens is with landscaping, if it's not, if homes aren't landscaped right away, you're going to get a lot of that mud kicked up. But for the most part, we're doing the same thing. We don't use the web connect. So what is it called? The
web head
catcher or the web head?
Yeah.
So we don't use that per se, but we do the same thing where we go around with a rag and we just dust it off. So yes, absolutely, that could be used. We even use like our own little dusting tools to be able to take it off the surface, just to make sure the surface is free of any dust and any dirt, and definitely that would work.
And so how often do you suggest, if, for in my instance, we get it out here in California, we start running with this product, we're putting it around foundations of homes, because here it's the same thing. They sit on slabs, majority of houses. I won't say all of them, because some of them are raised foundations, which you could still apply this product to. But we go out there every 2 months. So would you suggest going out there is every 2 months okay, or should the homeowner once a month, in between our services, still go out and clean it?
No. I mean, honestly, I clean my own surface at my home. I clean it once a year, and that's good enough.
There you go.
But to make it part of your plan and your service, absolutely. Every time you're out there, you guys can always take a look at it, because again, the better that this product is on the exterior surface, and the cleaner it is, and you're just going to have just fantastic results. And so every time you guys go out there, you can always take a look and say, okay, it has a version on it. Let's just do a quick walk around. And then you can tell the client at least once a year, maybe even sometimes we have some people that do it quarterly, where the client will just pay a fee and you go out there and you're going to actually maintain it. So you'll use the same tool that you were just describing to dust it off. You'll walk it, see if you need to apply to any areas, and that's it. And you've done that thing will, the surface will be ready to go for another year.
Awesome. That sounds like a real low maintenance, high reward type of product you got. Now, real quick, I did want to jump back to a couple questions I did have for you. You sort of touched up on it. So essentially, you're going to be supplying resources for PMPs and companies to obviously get the best results using your product with the proper tools and education.
Absolutely. So we have an operating manual right now that's still changing, but we have that manual available for our PMPs as they go out and start using the product. We even give them operating procedures on sales. And part of our service right now, because we've sold this. We've sold it for so long that we understand what all the questions will be when they're talking to a potential client. And so we prepare our PMPs to, their salespeople to be ready for those questions. Right now, because we're working on getting all of our online training. We do have some training that's online now, but we want to make it very useful for PMPs. Right now, I'm working with a company that's supposed to host all of our training videos and make it easy for PMPs to just essentially take a code and log in, and all of their staff, whoever wants to apply the aversion or sell the aversion, they can go through the training that we have. It'll be pretty easy, and they'll be ready to go.
Great. Yeah. The second question I had, which I want to go ahead and get your story on it, the dangers of the pests that aversion's designed to keep out, and one of the big ones is scorpions. So did you want to go ahead and tell us what happened to your son?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I had a childhood friend. We both ended up in Arizona, and he was infested with scorpions. He would tell me about it, but I was mostly helping him on trying to, what do you do to start a business and those things. But my son, we'd gotten out of the pool. We came inside. I put a towel around him, and then I was going to get him dressed, and then he just started crying. He was 3 years old at the time, but it was this loud scream, and he grabbed his arm, and right away I knew it had to be a scorpion, because I had it on my mind already from my friend being infested and the worry that he had. But my wife and I had never seen a scorpion at our house. So of course we shook the towel. He's bawling, and there's a scorpion on the ground. And I look at his elbow, and there's 3 dots. So he got hit 3 different times from the scorpion. And we didn't know what to do, honestly. Like, I mean, I didn't even know there was an anti-venom. Since then, I talked to the company that produces it a lot just because I want to learn more about it. But we didn't know what to do. We went to the internet, and everything just said, take him to the hospital. But he was in so much pain. We couldn't even make it to the hospital. We went straight to an urgent care. But the bad thing was, once we got him there, they said, well, sorry, we don't have an anti-venom for him, but we have to watch him now because we can't let you guys just take him to the hospital. We have to wait. So we waited, and within 30 minutes to an hour, because I was listening to your story that you were talking about over the holiday, you were at like 45 minutes to an hour, I think. And once we hit that time, oh my gosh, like my son, he was just going into convulsions. He couldn't breathe. His throat was closing in. He couldn't open his eyes. It was brutal. And they ended up getting an ambulance to pick him up. And that was the worst experience, seeing him strapped to that board, just a little child on this board. And they rushed him to the hospital. We got there. It was amazing. The hospital, like they just do this often, right? So right away we came in, they knew exactly what to do. He ended up getting, I think, 2 or 3 vials of the anti-venom, and he was fine. But a lot of people don't, they kind of wait it out. And there's not, like, honestly, if you look at the numbers, because I look at them a lot, over 90%, and the number's actually above 95%. And that's what the poison control will come up with. But the vast majority of scorpion stings happen inside. And so for us, it's like we've sort of adjusted to it, right? Like everybody has their own way of dealing with it. They understand you don't want a scorpion, you don't want to touch one, you don't want one to sting you. You want to do everything you can to keep these scorpions out of your home because somebody that if not yourself, has gone through it. But the pain is just so severe. And people, like for instance, people that tend to have allergic reactions to bee stings, they're going to be more susceptible to, having the same symptoms that my son did. But even for children at any age, it's incredible. The stories that mothers have told me as they've learned about my story and they've shared theirs, it's incredible. I mean, we have a gentleman that we met whose son was stung in El Paso, and they didn't even have the anti-venom then. And so they didn't know what to do. They didn't understand how to treat him. And so he was in hospital almost like 9 or 10 days because they didn't have the anti-venom. And but it's scary. And people know. I mean, people who move into Arizona know that you have to worry about scorpions. And everyone just tells them the same thing, which is just be careful. Make sure you're always wearing shoes inside. Check your shoes before you put them on. If you're in the garage moving boxes, always know you're going to see a scorpion in there. And it's just like, you're like, honestly, it's so like it's your own house and you're afraid to live in it. But that's what we wanted to fix when we decided to do this. Right. So like when my wife, she tells me all the time, like you're leaving, you spent, a large part of your life trying to become a lawyer, then you're a lawyer and now you're just leaving it. But for me, like, I really, really believe in this product so much and the results that could happen and just the whole idea of just being able to change like everything. Like, I mean, honestly, like if over 95% of people are getting stung inside their home, and if we can change that because we have this physical barrier, that would be amazing. And that's what I want. I'm so excited. I want to achieve that. But with pest control, this is the perfect tool because we're not the 100% solution, right, to the problem, because all we are is a tool. And the solution comes with everything your pest provider does, right? So your pest provider is still going to come out, treat your home on a regular basis, make sure that you have no scorpions or other crawling insects inside your yard. They're going to keep pushing out, obviously, what items that scorpions feed on, crickets and other things. They're going to get rid of those, and they're really going to try to just make sure and ensure that your home is free of pests. And because again, like you mentioned, I think in your podcast, how you don't know, you can carry a scorpion inside easily. You can carry one. It could just. I remember one time we had a bag. We'd gotten back from a trip, and we threw our bags on the ground outside. And when we carried them back in, a scorpion just fell off one of the bags. So you can carry them in.
Oh wow!
But here's how it works This is the cool part with pest control. Because we have our product on the base of an exterior structure, when a pesticide is applied to that exterior base, what the scorpion does, and what we're finding other insects are doing, is when they're approaching the application and they're trying to get up, and then they can't because it has that glass surface, they start moving along the wall. And they move at a long distance trying to climb, but they're spending all that time in the pesticide. Like, they're not just trying and turning around and going back, right? Because everyone always says, well, scorpions just tiptoe over the pesticide. Well, not anymore, because now they're going to spend all their time in the pesticide, and that's going to make it effective. So and then the other thing is that what's that?
Sorry. So real quick. So have you noticed when they're climbing up that surface, their legs are slipping? Because I watched some of the videos. Is their body eventually hitting that surface as they're falling down? So they're kind of rubbing up against that surface?
Absolutely. They're touching that surface. And here's the cool part, right? Because, now there are some pesticides that have polymers in them. Mm-hmm. And the idea is to try to keep the pesticide from being absorbed quickly. Yeah. And this is what our product does, right? And this is what, you put the pesticide on top of our product and it sits on top of it. And it takes longer for it to disappear than if you would have just put it right directly on the surface, the vertical surface of the wall. So then, like you said, when the scorpion's trying to get up, when it's testing the wall or other insects are trying to test that wall, the vertical area, they're being exposed to that pesticide. And so that's what we think is important. And of course, we tell our PMPs, look, less retreats. Most retreats happen because, especially for scorpions, because homeowners find those scorpions inside after they got treatment, and they're calling people to come out, but they're not going to have that anymore. So they're going to be able to save time and money.
So I have one, I think, last question. You're answering a lot of my questions I was even going to ask.
Good speaker.
Yeah. So now we've talked about the foundation. We've talked about the outside of a home. Now there is one massive part of a house that I want to know how you would treat with this, which would be the garage. There isn't a physical barrier going into a garage door. It just opens up and you're right inside, not the house, but you're inside the garage. So where would you place that barrier, for anybody who is looking at this and saying, hey, I like that idea, I want to jump on this? Where would they apply that inside the garage? How would they do that to keep them from entering the home 100%?
So when we meet with clients at the home, the first thing that they ask us is, how is this going to be applied to my garage? Now, of course, we apply it to I guess you could call it a garage jamb or the door jamb, the frame of the garage. We'll apply it to the very base of it at the bottom. But obviously, if your garage is up and down on a continual basis, they're going to get inside. Scorpions are just going to find a way in, right? Because you're opening it wide up. Yeah. So what we do is we treat the base of the garage, the baseboards all around the garage, just to make sure that we can keep the scorpion from being able to attach itself to the wall. But the key area is the entryway into your home. And so most homes have a step up. Some way, somehow they have a step up, right? I mean, yes, it's possible that you have a garage floor from when you walk into the garage, from the big door going up, you walk in, and it's a flat surface all the way inside your home. And all you have is a door, like a door jamb right there, serving as basically the keeping air from getting in and keeping insects from getting in. If that's the case, that's the worst case scenario. And in those cases, we apply it to the door jamb. We make sure that the door jamb is sealed, and then we apply it around the door jamb leading into your home. So So you apply it to the threshold. That's what I mean. The threshold, because that's the threshold, is what is going to it'll lead into your home. So we apply it to the threshold. We apply it to the door jamb at the very bottom, and then we have it applied all around your garage. But most garages have step ups. It might be just one concrete step up. It might be just a couple inches step up, and we'll apply it to the vertical surface of that step up. But we service every area of that garage, thinking, how can a scorpion, if one was able to get up in one area, how could it find a way inside? And for us, every single part of your home that touches the ground, you're going to have this application on. And then, like I said, when you're leading up into your house from the garage, we're going to treat the step up or the threshold and the door jamb leading into your home. And that's how we stop them.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Great. Yeah. Well, hey, Tony, I think you guys are definitely being innovators, especially in a pest control industry where, pesticides are getting more and more limited, especially here in California. They've recently just banned another rodenticide, and, all these other pesticides that we use every day are, getting banned more and more, to where companies are definitely going to have to start looking for alternatives to, securing clients' homes with pests.
Yeah, and the last couple of things I'll say is that, unless you guys have more questions, but is that in California, that's our next big area. The product that we're designing for California is going to be amazing, because our product works no matter what. It'll always work, right? But in California, you still need to have products that are non-pesticides, eco-friendly, and still are served like we would call a physical barrier, because we don't want to be considered a pesticide. So as long as we can meet that criteria, we're going to have the perfect product for California. And so we're hoping to get that done before the summer. But I'll definitely let you guys know so you guys could check it out. And we're also going to see if we've been talking to distributors as well, because it's good for us to go business to business, but we don't have. If I had the next 5 to 10 years to do that myself and with my partner and my staff, we could do it. But we want this on people's homes now, and so we're looking at the distributor option as one way of getting our product out there. So, people listening can check with their distributors, because I'm hoping that all of the distributors are going to be carrying our product very, very, very soon.
Well, I have someone you could reach out to that distributes in this area.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. He's known in the industry. Great man. Oh yeah, no, he's awesome. He would definitely help you out.
So, Tony, for the time being, until your product's widely available with a distributor, where can a technician or where can a company find a version right now?
I mean, just go to our website, www.aversion, and it's spelled AVERZION. And you go to our website, it'll direct you straight to a page where you can learn more about how the product works. You can always check out our videos. We have tons of videos on YouTube or even on the website itself. But on the website, it'll direct you to us, and then everything is automized. So we'll be able to give you access to pricing sheets and so forth. And then once you place the order, we send it directly to you. We'll give you access to all our training videos, our operating manual, and you'll be ready to go. And with the distributors, I'm sure as we start to grow, we want to get into most areas. Obviously, the Southwest is going to be the main area that we're going to try to push it out, but we're going to definitely try to push it out nationwide. And so I'm hoping by this time next year, it's everywhere. And so that's where you can find it. We have a service company So that service company does a lot of videos too. But ultimately, if you just go to our aversion.com, you'll get all the information that you need.
Awesome. Cool. I did have a last question. So who was the crazy person who stood on the cinder blocks with no shoes on?
Well, I mean, one of them, we've done like 3 of those. So all of the owners of the company have all been on the cinder block. So
Wow.
We make sure everybody goes through that test.
Well, that's a good way to put faith in your product.
Well, the next one you need to do
Absolutely.
is you need to spray it on someone's body and then drop scorpions on them.
There you go.
I want full credit for that.
It would work.
Do it.
I'm going to do that. That'll go viral for sure.
It's just spray it on someone's legs and let them step in a bucket of scorpions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. For all of our listeners, we'll definitely have a link for Aversion down below and any other resources and information, and most likely a link for that video. It's a pretty cool video to watch when someone's standing over a bunch of scorpions barefoot. So thank you so much, Tony.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep,
Love the show.
Thank you. You have a good one.